We're ready when you are.
Yes. Welcome to Women Lead meeting. My name is Abhijit Joshi. I'm the Toastmaster today. Can you guess what this picture is of? Anyone?
A rock, a
Half
big
dome.
rock.
So,
Half dome. That's right. It's a half dome. We were climbing the half dome on October 6th. I'm scared of heights. I climbed the subdome and I decided that this is my place. I was scared. But there was this another guy who was also scared. He was a frozen mummy, but he decided to climb it. I was surprised. There are total 50 pylons. He climbed first, second, and he went to the eighth pylon. And he stayed there for like 10 minutes. His gloves were slipping on the cables. His shoes were slipping on the granite. I thought he's going to come down. But I was surprised. He started climbing again. Within 20 minutes, he was on the top of the half dome. His grit inspired me, and I was able to climb the half dome. If he wasn't there, I would not have been able to make it. Today, our theme is grit. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. Before I introduce the speakers, let me call upon our Madam President, Renee Yao, for profiling of the leader. Renee Yao.
thank you, Abhijit. Before I go there, I would like to first of all welcome you all. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. I want to welcome you all to our meeting today. And Abhijit, thank you for that great personal story. And for the first time joining us, our Women Lead Toastmasters Club look to empower your voices, and we provide a safe platform to practice your public speaking, empower women leaders, and develop skills through workshops. Toastmasters is an international club where leaders are made, and more than 360,000 members across 145 countries and 16,000 some clubs around the world are here to make your dreams come true. And in the Pathway program, we have tailored learning experiences for you. If you'd like to learn more, I'm sharing the link here in the chat window. And if you'd like to join us and do prepare speeches, here is a membership form. And as little as 7.5 roughly a month dollars, you can become a member, part of the club, and deliver prepare speeches. And of course, we do have our Slack channel, and we welcome you all to join us. For those of you who want to reach out to us on Slack, here is the link. You can also take the QR code, or you can send your email to me privately in this chat window, and I can add you to our Slack channel. And as Abhijit already said, grit is our theme for today. Grit is living life like a marathon, not a sprint. Enjoy the ride as many of our speakers will take you down their memory lane, how they actually have the courage to push through no matter what the obstacles are, because it's worth it. And my favorite person in the leadership profile is RBG. And here I go. If I may have the timer for 2 to 3 minutes of a quick leader profile, that'd be great.
You got it.
Thank you. Feminist icon, women's rights champion, pioneer U.S. Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was all of it. Barely 5 feet tall and weighing 100 pounds, RBG's commitment, grit, and perseverance made her an icon and a legend of our times. She was rejected by 14 law firms after graduating top in her class from Harvard and Columbia universities in 1950s. Her unbending grit to smash the glass ceiling has eventually led her to become the second woman and the first Jewish person to be on the US Supreme Court. There were only 9 women in her class of 500, and no bathrooms were available in the building where classes were held at Harvard University in 1956. One of her professors even offered to give her answers on a test in exchange for sex. Unlike many women of her time, she was furious. How could you? How dare you do this? Her grit has allowed her to press on despite sexism and discrimination. She later went on to argue in 6 landmark gender equality cases in front of Supreme Court and won 5 of them. Because of her, now employers cannot discriminate employees based on gender or reproductive choices. Because of her, now women have financial independence, and benefit equality. To many of us, she seems like a superwoman, but she had been diagnosed with cancer 5 times over the last 21 years. Some of her coworkers did not make it easy. One of the senators announced with great glee that RBG was to pass away within 6 months of her pancreatic cancer diagnosis. That senator, whose name has now since been forgotten, died long before she did. When interviewed, she smiled and said, "I'm still alive." Yes, RBG, you're very much alive. Your commitment, your own words, highly recommend this book, and your grit will be alive for many generations to come. Every morning, you were given a choice to give up or press on. You deliberately chose to stay in the fight for society change, a fight that many of us will carry on in your absence. Thank you. Turn it back to you, LBG.
Thank you so much, Renee. RBG is an inspiration for all of us. Let me introduce our role bearers today. Let me call upon our general evaluator, Shobha Rao. Shobha, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. I'll be the general evaluator today. The role of a general evaluator is to conduct the evaluation session of the meeting, which will be evaluating the speeches that you will be seeing in the first session of the meeting, and also to ensure that all the roles, the R counter, the grammarian, and the timer roles are being performed properly and get their outputs, and finally give my evaluation of the whole meeting. Back to you, Abhijit.
Thank you so much, Shobha. Let me call upon our grammarian, Samantha. Samantha, do you want to introduce your role, please?
Yes, thank you. As the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage and taking note of any misuse of the English language, as well as the outstanding usage. As the grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. The word of today is pansania. It is a noun, and it means a remedy for all ills or difficulties, a cure-all. An example would be, if you believe money is to be the panacea for all difficulties, you will be shocked to learn you cannot purchase happiness with cash. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day in their speeches. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Let me introduce our R counter today, Sarah.
Hi everyone, I'll be the R counter today, so I'll be counting the speaker's filler words like like, and so, and any awkward pauses. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Now let me introduce the most important person who is going to make sure that we are on time. Karen, can you introduce your role, please? Oh, Karen, you're muted.
First, I'm going to unmute myself, and then I'm going to explain what the timer does. The timer has a critical role because they let you know if you're within time, and we do it with green, yellow, red signals. So I'll have a white card that stays up until a speech. So all our speeches today are icebreakers, so they're 4 to 6 minutes. So at 4 minutes, I will give the speaker a green signal. At 5 minutes, I will give them a yellow signal. And at 6 minutes, I will give them a red signal. For the evaluators, I'll do the same thing. The green signal, those evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. So I will give the green at 2, the yellow at 2.5, and the red at 3. The same thing will go for table topics, which are 1 to 2 minutes. So you'll get green at 1, yellow at 1.5, and red at 2. Thank you. And I'll give a report at the end to let people know just how well they did.
Thank you so much, Karen. I really enjoy your use of technology.
Thank you. It's challenging, but once you get through it, it's really easy.
Perfect. Before I introduce our first speaker, let me call upon her evaluator, Shravanti, to introduce her speech purpose.
Thank you, Abhi. Today, our first speaker will be Vicky. Her speech title is Plant Parenthood. Her pathway is dynamic leadership. It's an icebreaker, so 4 to 6 minutes. Trying to stay sane during quarantine, Vicky adopted a collection of houseplants and became a plant mom. As she learned to take care of them, she found that houseplants are teaching her about grit, responsibility, love, and joy every day. She will be sharing with us her wonderful experience of plant parenthood. Please welcome Vicky.
Thank you so much, Shravanti. Vicky Pan, Plant Parenthood, Vicky Pan.
What do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a mom. But here I am, still swiping left and right on dating apps, even though I'm literally located in Man Jose. You know, San Jose, full of men. I am not gonna be a mom anytime soon. Dear Toastmasters, speakers, and guests, my name is Vicky. And in 2020, the year of quarantine, I decided to become a plant mom. That's right, I adopted a collection of houseplants. And this plant parenthood is not easy. I know I'm not RBG, but do I have the grit to raise them on my own? I was born and raised in China, and back when I was a little kid, my superstitious grandma went to a fortune lady to ask about my fate. The fortune lady told her that I have witch fingers, so long and twiggy that I would go on and play wonderful piano. But the curse was I would not be able to keep any plants alive. So random, right? 10 years of piano lessons later, I proved her wrong. I suck at piano. So I decided to prove her wrong again with the plants. I was determined to keep my plants alive. To do that, I needed to be responsible. So I read up on every plant that I was going to adopt. For example, this snake plant right here, it's almost impossible to kill. So I started with it. The more I learn about plants, the more I feel empowered to just keep swiping my credit cards on more plants. That's bad news for my wallet. But the good news is the plans were set up for success because I was prepared. Now you may ask, how have they been doing since then? They are doing well, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I have my fair share of bad sleeps just worrying about them. Oh, like this one. Why is it not growing? Is it sick? Oh, I definitely did not sign up for the bugs on some of them. What am I supposed to do? Like, I may seem dramatic here, but calling all the moms here today, that's what being a mom feels like most of the time, right? We just can't help but worry about the kids. But the kids are not gonna grow up overnight. And the bugs, trust me, they're not going away in a day or even weeks or months. There's just no panacea. So I would just have to keep learning, be patient, and not give up. You see, my plants are definitely developing my grit, and they are also keeping me grounded. As a typical millennial, I used to pay hundreds to go on meditation retreats, sitting all weeks in, in the woods trying to find peace. And after that, pay another hundreds just to get my sore back fixed from sitting all week. Something is off. One afternoon, when I was watering my plants, I had an epiphany. As I was giving my attention to them one by one, the sun was shining through the window, the water was absorbed into the soil, through their roots and their veins, forming little crystal beads on their leaves. I was in awe of how beautiful they were and how calm and grounded I was in that moment with them. I realized I went far away into the woods trying to find peace, but peace was actually right here with me. I'm so glad that I have these houseplants to teach me about grit, responsibility, love, and just simple joy every day. And with these qualities and mindset, I think I'm gonna make an awesome mom one day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Let's take a 1 minute silence. I've just put a link for an evaluation form. If you can, all of you can please give feedback to Vicky. It will help her to make her speech more effective. Timer, can you give me 1 minute of silence, please? Before I introduce the next speaker, let me call upon Meena to share the purpose of Madhu's speech. Meena?
Thank you, Abhijit. So Madhu is going to be I will be evaluating Madhu's prepared speech, and she will be giving a speech called Embracing Discomfort for Success. And it's an icebreaker speech of the leadership development pathway, which will be 4 to 6 minutes. Back to you, Abhijit.
Thank you so much, Meena. Can you think back to any decision you made that completely changed the trajectory of your life? Madhu always likes to challenge herself. She will talk about how embracing discomfort has helped her shape her life. Madhu Sridhara, embracing discomfort for success. Embracing discomfort for success. Madhu Sridhara.
Whatever makes you uncomfortable is your biggest opportunity for growth. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. and good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Madhumita. Madhu in Sanskrit means honey or sweet, and Mita in Kannada means moderate. Makes me wonder, what were my parents thinking when they named me that? They thought I was moderately sweet? For several years after this naming, I led a pretty comfortable life, just following in my older sister's footsteps. I grew up in a protective environment as a happy child and a nerdy student. As a teenager, I was inspired by my mother's career as a computer professional and had decided that I would pursue an engineering degree. When the time came to pick a college, instead of choosing one of the several good engineering colleges in my hometown of Bangalore, I insisted to go to National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, which was an overnight bus ride from home. After much hesitation, my parents became the first ones in their family to let their daughter out of their home to go pursue her studies. I was elated. It's what every teenager wants, freedom, I thought. Little did I know that it wasn't going to be an easy ride. When I moved to NITK, I had to leave behind all the comforts I was used to back home. The weather, the food, the people, everything was different. The weather was humid, the food was bland, and the people were just new. Looking at those around me, I realized that I had to chase more than just good grades to get the full college experience. I felt very ill equipped. Not that the grades were coming easily either. I remember this one time in my first semester of college, I was having the hardest time preparing for my electrical engineering foundations exam. I was so worried about doing badly that I could barely study. I was consumed by self doubt, and I started questioning my ability to survive the next 4 years. I must have made a mistake, I thought. After all, I was the topper of my class before I entered college, and now I was far from that. You have to understand, for a girl who used to associate her self worth for being praised for being top of her class, this was a big blow. I remember having a complete meltdown, and I just wanted to run back home to my parents, where all the comfort was. That's when I heard a little voice tell me, your decision to come here isn't inherently good or bad. Your decision is not the problem. Your avoidance to deal with the discomfort that it brings you, that's what's bringing you down. Those were the wise words of my friend Aditi. I listened to her at that time, and I carry that learning with me. I gathered the courage to face the discomfort, to embrace the discomfort. For 4 years after that, I repeatedly challenged myself and attempted things I wouldn't have dreamt of. The most shocking of them being founding a startup with two of my college mates. But that is a whole story on its own. Looking back at my own life, I realize that I've had the most growth at those points in my life when I chose to do something outside my comfort zone. Brings me to why I'm here today, giving my icebreaker speech at Toastmasters. Making a speech, even if it is just about myself, is one of the hardest things I've done this year. I'm really looking forward to see how this short-term discomfort I chose turns into a long-term story in my life, a long-term growth story in my life. They say, every time you try something new, you will grow. A little piece of fear of the unknown is removed and replaced with a sense of empowerment. I will leave you with this question today. What is the one new uncomfortable thing you are going to try. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Madhu. It was truly inspiring for me. Definitely, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try Whitney. I'll climb the Whitney in next 6 months. Let's take a 1 minute of silence and please give feedback in that same evaluation form for Madhu. It will help her to understand what she did well and what she could do to make her speech more effective. Before I introduce Deepa's speech, let me call upon Helen to read out the objectives of Deepa's speech. Helen?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This evening, I'm evaluating Deepa's speech. She'll be introducing herself to the club using an icebreaker. She's using the Presentation Mastery Level 1. And she's going to be introducing herself to the club using the basic structure of a speech, including clarity, audience awareness, vocal variety, and gestures. It's a 4 to 6 minute speech, and I'm really looking forward to hearing it. Thank you, Abhi.
Thank you, Helen. All her life, Deepa had been on the wrong side of the weighing scale. How and what led her to literally tip the scales in her favor? She'll be sharing with us her story of grit and determination in her weight loss journey. Deepa Sheshadri, you have what it takes. You have what it takes. Deepa Sheshadri.
An adult giant panda weighs 225 pounds. A fully loaded refrigerator in your home, that weighs 225 pounds. 5 fully loaded suitcases weigh 225 pounds. Why am I sharing this trivia about 225 pounds? Because 5 years back, I was 225 pounds. And today, I'm going to share with you my story of weight loss. But I think I'm jumping the gun here. My name is Deepa Sheshadri, and I'm here to share my successful weight loss journey, and perhaps in my own small way, impress upon you that if I can do it, you can too. All my life, I had always been on the wrong side of the weighing scale, always overweight, and seeking food as a refuge for all emotions. I'm happy today. Let's eat. I'm feeling a little upset. Let's eat. Friends are coming over. Let's eat. Who wants with me? Let's eat. Soon the weight crept on me. And one day, about 5 years back, when my son was around 2 years old, I realized I could not even play with him. My weight was hindering on me leading a successful life. And that's when I realized that I need to take things in my control, take my health as a priority, and work towards it. The first thing I ended up doing was to learn about the concept of calorie deficit. Calories in need to be absolutely low compared to your calories out if you need to achieve any kind of weight loss. An adult woman needs about 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day for a healthy lifestyle. I was eating close to 3,000 calories a day. I bootstrapped myself and started watching what I eat. I did not go on any of these crash diets because history had proven to me that it doesn't work for me. And so I started counting my calories and really maintaining a record of what I'm eating, and brought down my calorie intake to 1,800 calories a day. Slowly and steadily, over a period of 6 months, I lost 25 pounds. But then, the body is very smart. It realizes that you are actually giving it less and less food, and so the metabolism rate decreases. And at 6 months, when I had lost 25 pounds, my weight loss had reached a plateau. I had to kickstart it again. I thought now would be a good time to include some movement in my activities. That first day, I ran a lap around my block, and I was huffing and puffing. And believe you me, it was only half a mile. But I kept at it and thought maybe if I enroll for a 5K, I can work towards it. I ran my first 5K. I ran a 10K and another and another. And soon running became a part of me, a part of my daily routine. But guess what? Body is smart. Again, I reached a plateau about a year after my weight loss journey. I had lost about 50 pounds by then, but still I had to reach my weight loss goal. What could I do now? I thought maybe given the pressure my knees are taking because of my running, I could potentially go into swimming. But I did not know swimming. So I enrolled for swimming lessons, and I started learning to swim once a week. And just to keep myself motivated, I ended up enrolling myself for a duathlon. A duathlon is somewhere where you run and you swim for a specified distance. I did that. I learned swimming, ran my duathlon, and guess what? Again, weight loss plateau. And then I realized, okay, maybe I need to rev it up again. I ended up joining a yoga class. And I liked it so much that I ended up training to become a yoga teacher. I got my 200-hour certificate. And by then, I had lost close to 75 pounds and almost reached my ideal weight goal. With all this, am I saying it's easy to be a weight loss success story? Absolutely not. Every single day, I work towards still maintaining the 1,800 calorie intake. Do I not eat any desserts? Absolutely not. But when I do, I end up skipping on my snack, perhaps. And with all this, all I want to share with you today is if I can do it, you can too. All it takes is grit. Thank you.
Let's all of us give an applause This is a sign language. This is applauding in sign language. All three of them were very inspiring speeches. Deepa, funny thing is we have Sarah, who is also a yoga teacher. So we have two yoga teachers in this group. Everyone, please take a minute of silence. We'll all give feedback to Deepa. Thank you, Karen. Let's move on to our next section. Our next section is table topics. Let me introduce our table topic master, Anita Jindal.
Hello, everyone. Very nice to meet you here. And it was very nice to hear three great inspirational stories on grit and perseverance or persistence. For me, what is very important is setting goals and going at it. Whenever I am faced with challenges, my panacea is not to give up, keep going. And today, I wanted to explore some topics with this audience here with respect to grit, persistence, and perseverance. My first question is, what does grit mean for you? Lakshmi, I see your hand up. You want to take, yeah, go ahead. Unmute yourself and go for it. Karen, can you please set the timer? So the time here will be 1 to 2 minutes. Just to remind folks, pay attention to the timer. Timing is 1 to 2 minutes, and you have 30 seconds as a grace period.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to talk today. This is the first time for me, so I'm a little nervous. But grit, actually, I think it is just a small word, but a very, very powerful word, because I don't think there is any synonym for it, which is exactly the same, which has the same meaning as grit. See, you can say perseverance, you can say resilient, you can say all those things, but they never come close to the word grit. That's what I feel personally. It's a combination of 5, 6 words, bigger words especially. You can say hard work, you need courage and passion to achieve some goal. There are so many things. So it's a very powerful word, and I feel that is the main characteristic of a person that makes that person an achiever or not an achiever. So it's a very important aspect for people like, I think, the best example will be Bill Gates and Sundar Pichai. I think that's the reason they have the grit. That's why they are in that particular position. But for normal people like us, I don't think we will have all the aspects of grit. So a couple of them, yeah. Like for me, I work hard. I'm a hard worker. But when it comes to resilience, I'm not all that resilient. I'm not that great at it. So I know I have to work on it. So there are so many things. But if you work on it, try hard and work on all those aspects, I know we can achieve it. We might not become an Elon Musk or somebody like that, but definitely I think we'll be, we'll do a good job in our own area of work. So that's the thing I feel about grit. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lakshmi, for a wonderful story over there and telling us what's important to you and what it means to you. Okay. So my next question is, would you like to share a story of your own or what you can think of or a hypothetical situation?
You're talking to me?
No, it's the next question.
Okay.
Of if you are faced with challenges, how do you or how would you go about resolving those challenges? Okay, let's see. Vidya, do you want to give it a try?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know this is for anyone. Okay.
Yes, it's basically the way the questions work. I'll ask a question and then I'll pick somebody from the audience. Or if
Okay.
you are interested, you can let me know.
Okay. I can give it a try. Can you say the question again, please?
Yeah. My question is, you can either share your own personal story or a hypothetical situation that if you're faced with a challenging situation, how do you go about resolving it?
8 years ago, it was harder because I had come back to my career after a break, and I felt things have to be a little more easier because in my mind, I had gritted things out, and my career had to turn out the way I had planned out. So at that time, I think I started with a lot of why me. But today, some years later, I think it's given me the wisdom of one, looking at the bigger picture. I could turn back to what felt like a disadvantage or what felt like things did not turn out the way I planned and I was not lucky, to how it gave me a certain sense of strength that I did not know I had. It's not always that easy, but after all my wallowing and all my licking my wounds, I come back to that place of, okay, it did not kill me. And it gave me certain strengths that I discovered much later. And I'm able to look past it a little better. So that's my approach to challenge today. One quote that has given me a sense of reaffirmation is, you did not come this far to only come this far. So that's something that I always think about uh, when things go haywire. So that's the thing that I hold on to, and that's a thing that I pay forward with too. Yeah, I am not able to see the timer, but that's all I got for today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
To remind everybody, our timer is Karen Conwell. You will see her, she has timer next to her. And table topics is a section which we have as part of Toastmasters. It's to help you think on the fly. It's a set of questions which are very short time, between 1 to 2 minutes. And the way this works is, just to remind folks here, that I will ask a question and then pick somebody from the audience, or if somebody is interested in answering the question, please go ahead, raise your hand, and I can see who would want to answer the question. So my next question for the audience is, if you look back into your own career journey, would you like to share any example of grit or persistence with us? Let me take a look here. Rumela, you want to give it a try?
Hi, Nita.
Hi.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this is also my first time talking here. So, yes, I can recall the time when I was in US for a while. I did my master's there, but then I had to come back to India for some personal reasons. I got married and all. So that transition was not a very easy journey for me because I didn't know what it would be like here in India. I did an internship there. I had my mindset that I'll be working there, and it would have been a very different culture there versus, like going ahead and setting up something new again here. Then I didn't know like what the pay scale would be like, or what other responsibilities that I would have to take up. So that was one thing which was very difficult for me. But yeah, I started small. I started working, like I always wanted to work in a startup and get that experience. So I joined a startup. I thought, okay, let me start from here and let me see where things can go. And then things were not easy there as well because, well, with startups, we have a lot of challenges and with respect to processes and um, but yeah, I kept going. Then soon after that, when I joined the company, I was pregnant with my child. So then that again added to some more difficulties. But yes, I was clear about one thing, that I will not give up my job. No matter what, I will keep going, and I did. And after 1.5 years of staying there, I joined VMware, and that is how I know Anita as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, yes, I just never wanted to give up on my career. Just wanted to keep going no matter what, even though my kid is still very small. She's like 2.5 years old, but I'm still going.
Okay. Thank you, Rumela, for sharing your personal story. So my next question is, in your mind, what does forward progress mean to you? And when do you know that you're always progressing in your journey? Yeah. Madhu, you were a speaker, so I have to ask someone else. Okay. Sukruti, you want to give it a try?
Sure, thank you. Sorry, I can't share my camera. I'm totally unprepared for this,
Okay.
but I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
So forward thinking, I'll share a story of mine. So I did a grad in electrical engineering, and then I totally changed my streams. I've always wanted to work with tactical things, things that I can touch. I love in my hobbies, I love doing pottery. I just love to work with things that I can touch and feel. But my undergrad electrical engineering was not that. I chose it for different reasons. But after I did some years of work experience, I realized it's not up for me. And then I changed my country, came to US from India, and I joined in a food industry company, which was a totally different work atmosphere because I had to be a consultant in a plant with very loud equipment. Um, I'm 5 feet 2 inches in height, and with those lab coats and headgear and those eye protective glasses, I was a sight to see. But going with the theme of grit, I think that's what my parents have taught me from the very beginning. And I thought I've chosen something, and no matter how uncomfortable it might be, I chose it for a reason, because I'm going to learn something new. And I just kept at it, thought about what new can I think and how can I use my electrical experience that nobody has in a factory atmosphere, and how can I use that to bring a new perspective to the people. So that's how I used my previous experience and thought about how I can use it in the forward atmosphere that I'm in.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that story, Sukriti. Abhijit, do we have time for one more question? Or no? Okay. Okay, let's. Okay, so what? Thank you. We had today our speakers were Lakshmi, Vidya, Rumela, and Sukruti. Thank you for sharing your personal stories with us, and it's good to see how you are dealing, how you demonstrate grit every day in your daily journey. Over back to you, Abhijit.
Thank you so much, Anita. I really enjoyed those table topics. Now we move on to our next section, evaluation. Let me call upon our general evaluator, Shobha Rao.
Thank you, Abhijit. So now we are on to the final session of the day, and which is the evaluation session. And in this session, we will be evaluating the 3 speeches. And what awesome speeches we heard today, such inspirational speeches, all about grit and determination. And it's not just the speeches, we had an excellent table topics too, where every single person who gave a speech, an impromptu speech that too was filled with inspiration. It is Women Leaders Toastmasters after all. Welcome you all to our Toastmasters. So in this evaluation session, I will have 3 evaluators who will be evaluating the 3 speeches based on their content and delivery. And I'm giving a speech generally. I love evaluation. Yeah, right. I'm kidding. But Toastmasters is all about evaluation as much as it's about speeches, because our goal here is to keep improving and improving, getting feedback and improving. So to evaluate the first speech by Vicky, we have Shravanti. Shravanti, can you please unmute yourself and evaluate Vicky's speech?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, General Evaluator Shobha. Vicky, wonderful, wonderful speech. Thank you for sharing that. I will talk about what you've done exceptionally well and a couple areas where you can challenge yourself to create a more engaging speech. First off, I wanted to say there are many ways to hook someone into your speech. One is by having a creative title, which is what you did. The second is by having a question to engage the crowd. For your title, Planned Parenthood, I don't think you needed to ask to involve the crowd, because I was curious once your introduction came. What did you learn? How did you get so involved with plants? That was my curiosity. That is one thing you've done exceptionally well. Hook us from the beginning. The second that I really enjoyed was you had your plants right here. So we had a visual to see that you had many plants, which you mentioned. Maybe, I'm sure I wanted to ask you, how many plants do you have total? I think I missed the number.
I don't think I shared a number of plants, but I have a full staircase outside. So
Wow.
I only show 3.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. So instead of showing one plant where we would think, oh, she has a few, you showed multiple. So it kind of created a frame around you. It highlighted you, but it created a frame around you. That shows that you might even have a garden in front of you. And we would think that. I thought that proved your point extremely well. The most important part about an icebreaker is we need to learn who you are. Who is Vicky? Where do you come from? What do you do? What are your interests? And I think you've covered each one of those points in detail. You took us back to China. You put in a tiny anecdote, which connected your entire speech together. There was humor, there was engagement, and there was connection. And I was looking at the audience, the rest of the members. Some of them were chuckling, so I thought she's doing a great job. Exceptionally well. There are more, which I'll write in your evaluation, but now I'd like to move forward to what can you do to challenge yourself? One is your voice remained consistent throughout. Your content was amazing, on point, to bring more life to your speech. When you asked the crowd, when you related to motherhood and sleepless nights, if you said, oh, those sleepless nights, where you worry about your plant's health, you worry about your child's health, that kind of exasperation, that emotion, we connect with your words. Can we connect with your emotion? in case there aren't any mothers here. So then we can understand through your voice. The second is changing your pace. Your pace remained very consistently spaced out throughout. So it seemed like all of your points had equal impact. There may have been 1 or 2 points which you wanted to highlight. But when I think back to your speech, I can think of 10 things I really, really liked, as opposed to those 2 main things, 2 or 3 main things that you wanted us to walk away with. Overall, great speech, holistic. We've learned a lot about you, and I look forward to hearing more. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shravanti. Now on to our second evaluator, which would be Meena, and she will be evaluating Madhu's speech, Embracing Discomfort for Success. Let's welcome Meena.
Thank you, General Evaluator Shobha, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. But most importantly, Madhu, thank you so much for an awesome first icebreaker speech. Every time you try something new, you will grow. A little piece of the fear of the unknown is replaced with a sense of empowerment. This quote really, really stood out to me. It hit home for me, and I'm sure it does for everyone here, every Toastmaster here in this room, because that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to grow. Admittedly, this speech is a little difficult for me to evaluate because I'm stuck feeling like there isn't much I can comment in terms of recommendations because it was so great. But first of all, I want to commend you on how exceptionally prepared you were. You were standing up, your delivery was smooth, you didn't look like you were using any notes or anything, and you had great vocal variety. I was engaged throughout the entirety of your speech. Your pacing was also just right. It wasn't too fast or too slow. And you also had great structure in your speech. There was a very clear beginning, middle, and end, and the transitions were great as well. Specifically, I want to call out the transition you included when you shifted from talking about adapting to the external college environment, to talking about your grades, saying it wasn't like my grades were coming easily either. That was nice. And so something I might want to challenge you on for next time is just to push the storytelling a little bit further. I mean, this is like pretty minor because your speech was great, but I specifically wanted to hear a little bit more about the turning point at which you decided you're going to embrace the challenges, when your friend told you to embrace the difficulties or the discomfort. I think that was an opportunity for you to really push the storytelling and expand a little bit, to really tell a story. But most importantly, I think we were all able to get a little taste of Madhu and how gritty you are, which really achieved the goal of the icebreaker speech. And last but not least, one more thing, you wrapped it up really nicely at the end with a quote, and then also asking a question to the audience, relating it back to the audience, which I thought was a fantastic way to end the speech. And it was extremely effective in inspiring and motivating us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Meena.
Thank you, Meena. Thank you for that evaluation. And for evaluating our third speech of the day by Deepa, we have Helen. Helen?
Hello, thank you, General Evaluator. Deepa, I really enjoyed your speech, and particularly your introduction, where you compared things that we would normally see, perhaps, to a weight, and then explaining that was the weight that you had at that time. So it really cemented that in our minds and was a great way of opening your speech. That was wonderful. You also used gestures quite well throughout your speech, engaging the audience as you went. We all know that weight loss, there's no panacea for weight loss. It is a journey. And you emphasize that journey by first mitigating how you were eating, then adding running, adding the swimming, adding the yoga. So really had a definite flow to your speech. In the future, you might want to work on slowing down your delivery a little bit and allowing for some pauses. It gives the audience some time to reflect on what you're saying and kind of catch up with you. I know when I'm nervous, I tend to talk really fast too. So I'm working really hard on slowing down my delivery and giving everyone a chance to hear what I'm saying, because you have a great delivery and a great speaking voice. I'd also challenge you, should you want to give this speech again, to add more movement as you were adding each additional element to your routine. So you could kind of act out adding the marathon and act out adding the swimming. I think it would just give a little more variety to the speech and be a little bit more engaging, and it might be a little bit of fun to add those elements. I'd also challenge you to add a personal story, talk a little bit more about something that you really either found extremely challenging that you needed to overcome, or something that you learned about yourself throughout this process that kind of surprised you. Again, really connecting with the audience and that giving them a little bit more insight into who you are. All in all, it was a great speech. Thank you so much for sharing with us this evening. Thank you, Deepa.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for that wonderful feedback. I have to say all the three evaluators did an excellent job because they gave very specific feedback to every single speaker. And that is the beauty of evaluation. I hope all of you use that feedback for your future speeches. And before I even go further along, I just want to give kudos to all the three speakers, because for an icebreaker speech, for a very first speech, for what you have done, I think this was like the best. All the three of you, every single one of you gave an excellent speech. It didn't even feel like an icebreaker. You all seem to be seasoned speakers. And that I personally am really thrilled and excited to have you all in our club. Now, on to the roles, the various roles we had today. We had an R counter, a grammarian, and a timer. So let's get the timers report from Karen first.
You know, grit is a really important topic. And I wanted to share with you a quote from Angela Duckworth's book entitled, surprisingly, Grit. I used it to start the chapter of one of my chapters in my book. Our potential is one thing. What we do with it is quite another. There is no panacea for Toastmaster timing, but there are a couple of secrets that you should be aware of, particularly when you're doing table topics. Talk till you see the green. At the red, you have a 30-second grace period. If you can only remember those two things, you'll be perfect in table topics. So today, our speakers were all within 4 to 6 minutes, which was beautiful. Vicky, you were exactly at 5 minutes. Madhu, you were at 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Deepa, 5 minutes and 38 seconds. For our table topics, which was between 1 and 2 minutes, Lakshmi, you were at 2 minutes and 1 second, pretty good. Veera, 1 minute and 38 seconds. Rumela, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. And Sukrita, 1 minute and 59 seconds. I thought that was really exceptional. And for our evaluators, Sarvantha, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Meena, 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and Helen, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Overall, pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. You know, when I heard grit, Angela Duckworth's book was the first thing that came to my mind. And thanks for the beautiful quote from the book. Excellent. Now our R counter was Sarah. Sarah, how many R's and M's were thrown around today?
Hi guys. So from the prepared speeches, I only counted 3 Us from Deepa. From table topics, which were impromptu speeches, which there was more Us. So Lakshmi, 7 Us, 2 you knows. Vidya, 6 Us. Rumela, 18 Us, ums mixed together. Sukriti, 13 Us and ums. From the evaluation, Nina, I heard 12 ums and us mixed together. But overall, great job, everybody. I love the speeches. So thank you.
Sarah. Thank you for listening carefully and noting down every single R. Our grammarian was Samantha. Samantha, can you please give your report?
Yes, it was a pleasure listening to your speeches today, everyone. So first, Vicki and Karen, brownie points for incorporating the word of the day and properly using it. Madhu, you had very good use of adjectives, happy child, good student, I was elated. You did say I attempted things I wouldn't have dreamed of, and just a reminder that would indicates intention and could indicates ability. Deepa, you said history has proven me that it does not work for me. Me was used a little too much. It wasn't needed, but your use of short sentences was very good and it packed a punch. That is all. Back to you.
Thank you, Samantha. That was our evaluation session. And overall, I think today we did have a great meeting with excellent questions from Anita for our table topics all around grit and having set goals, and excellent speeches I've said too many times already, so I don't want to repeat myself, and the evaluations as well. Thank you everyone for these roles. Now back to our president, Renee.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen okay? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you learned a lot about grit today. Consistency of effort over the long run is everything. And if you truly enjoy our meetings, next week we actually have a bonus section. So we have the sponsored meeting with our renowned finalists, and they will be sharing with us how they won their titles in speech competitions, and join us wherever you are and learn from the stars of public speaking to master your communication skills. So we'll send this out after the meeting as well. And without further ado, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our webpage or send us an email or join our Slack channel. And let me pause real quick to get some guest feedback. Any new members first time joining us? Do you want to say a few things? How you like the meetings?
Yeah, I'm your first timer today. And I'm very thrilled and very pleased because I love the candor behind the feedback. It's constructive, but it is also very candid. And I've seen a lot of meetings where it's a lot of raras and not helpful, or it's very generic that you can't act on it. So I particularly like the candor part of it. And I love how everybody is putting themselves out there, and it is a vulnerable moment for everyone. But I can see it is a great environment to adapt yourself. So I'm thrilled and I'm very grateful that there is this channel for a lot of us.
Thank you. Thank you for your sweet, kind words. Anyone else want to share a few words?
Renee, actually, Rumela wanted to know about Toastmasters. Maybe you can. Rumela, you had a couple of questions.
Oh yeah, actually, I just wanted to know more about being a speaker, or I don't know. I mean, uh, this is like the first time, so it's kind of like I also have stage fright. So
Oh, no worries. You will be assigned a very experienced and very a very experienced mentor. And that person will guide you through every single step. We'll practice together. And every single prepared speeches that you saw today, they have practiced with a mentor before they get on stage. And even after they practice, sometimes it still happens. You might stand on stage and you still might forget, which happened to me 6 years ago. I've been in Toastmaster for 6 years, and I just stood on stage, I just froze. And then I froze for quite some time. But in the audience, because everyone's very experienced, they know where you came from, they would just smile and nod until your train of thoughts come back. So this is absolutely a safe environment because all of us have experienced some sort of stage fright, and we all do very interesting things with our body posture. For me, my hands is like doing this, but I strategically hide it from the camera that you guys can't tell. But this is where you will get to find out about all of the interesting things that you do in front of a camera or on stage.
Yeah, that's great. I also loved how the judging was done because it was very objective, and it gave like exact, like details about how much time it took, and also like how many hours and hours I did. So that really helped.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. A lot of the ums and ahs, I know many of the experienced speakers here would also share with you. The first couple of years, I don't hear my uhs and ums in normal conversation. It's not until much, much later I start hearing them and I can correct what some of what we consider as mistakes, essentially. But it takes time. So be patient with with yourself, and this journey, we're all essentially growing different pace.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys would like to join, because earlier at the beginning of the meeting, I did share the member form that you guys can take a screenshot or the link here. And if you want to do prepared speeches, then there is a membership fee. But if you just want to join, sit in and figure out if you like the workshop format or other format, then you can absolutely sit in for free for a couple of times until you make a decision.
Okay.
We'll send out all of these in the email after as well. Any other guest feedback?
It's a pleasure to be with you guys. You guys are really, all of you are inspiration. It is my second time here. I'm really impressed. So thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you, Ingrid, for joining us. You give a speech next. I'm sure there's a lot of great stories behind you, Ingrid.
Yeah, the only reason I hesitate is a matter of time, and I really loved your quote at the end about consistency. It's really true, and well, that's a weakness for me. I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be, but it'd be good training to be consistent here. So
there is a little. I think I forgot which book that I read, but it was about, because I have a problem with procrastination, which caused me to always not be able to finish things, on time and not and get very stressed out last minute. There's this one book. It just essentially taught you that take the smallest step you can towards that goal. Like, for example, writing a speech. I'm gonna write one word on that paper, and you just got started. So that's one little tip for you all if you guys haven't read similar books like that, but it worked for me. I started writing RPG on the paper for 2 days, and then I eventually got to it. So I know where you've been and how it feels to feel overwhelmed with everything else in life.
Yeah, thank you.
Renee, can I add something?
Yes.
Priya, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a comment. This is the first time that I attended this meeting, and it has been truly a very great experience for me. Thank you, Anita, for inviting me. And I think the topic was also very, very catchy. Grit is something that we all need to get through this period of uncertainty and difficult times. So I'm glad that I attended it, though I was initially apprehensive if this would be a good forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. We hope to see you come back again.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Vidya, I think so. Atomic Habits. If you guys haven't read that book, it's a really good one. I believe it says it takes about 21 days to form a habit. So check it out. It's a great book.
Can I add something, Renee?
Yes, please, Karen.
I wanted to let people know I joined Toastmasters, I think about 5 years ago, and I got my Distinguished Toastmaster Award this June. And I was very, very hesitant to join Toastmasters because I had given speeches, I had talked to audiences, 500 people. Did I need this? Really was my question. And I went to an advanced club and I listened to a speaker who was so fabulous that he just bowled me over, and I said, I want to speak like him. That's what, if you can make me speak like him, I'm in. And the best part about Toastmasters is it's all done at your own pace. You know, life gets crazy sometimes, right? The kids go nuts, your work explodes, your parents need you, your boyfriend is pissed off. And so sometimes you have to like duck down and do less. And other times you get space in your life and you can free it up. So all your speeches are your own content. Toastmasters never tells you what to speak about. They kind of give you the envelope to speak in, and you can do it at your own pace. Now, your mentor is probably going to pester you, but it's also okay to have to say, you know, right now my life is berserk. I need to back off, but set a goal. My goal was 1 speech a month. Now that's not really that much, right? I mean, it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. So join, set a goal, and if life blows up on you, it happens. But I highly encourage everyone to push forward, because this is how you get better. Thanks.
Great. So we are 1 minute over. The meeting is officially adjourned. So for those of you, thank you so much for taking the time to spend this evening or wherever you are with us. You are more than welcome to drop off, and the officers will stay around to answer any of your questions. Or even if you just want to get to know our journey, we're happy to share any of that with you. So thank you guys, and hope you guys find your grit in life and continue to press on.
Jojo, how was your experience? Yeah.
Oh,